Oh, diversity is not our strength, Hugh. I mean, this is the kind of thing these generals peddle. Diversity is our strength. No, it's not. They know it's not. They know that our strength is our unity. I would say over a third are actively complicit. And then you have a lot of grumblers who are sort of going along trying to resist the nonsense as much as they can, but they're not fundamentally changing it.
Hi again, everybody. It's now 5 o'clock in New York. It's not just Elon Musk and Doge slashing the federal government. A new announcement by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth outlines his plan to slash as well, announcing yesterday a 20% reduction of four-star generals and admirals, a 20% reduction of general officers in the National Guard, and a 10% reduction of overall general-level officers in the military. As the New York Times reports, this continues, quote, the wide swath of job reductions and firings that have marked Hegseth's 3 months at the helm of the Pentagon. According to the latest study by the Congressional Research Service, there are around 800 generals and admirals across the military. So while getting rid of bloat in an institution can be a good thing, the severity of Hegseth's cuts is raising concerns. Jack Reed, the top Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee, released a statement that reads, in part, quote, I have always advocated for efficiency at the Department of Defense, but tough personnel decisions should be based on facts and analysis, not arbitrary percentages. Eliminating the positions of many of our most skilled and experienced officers without sound justification would not create efficiency in the military. It would cripple it. This comes as more questions are being raised and swirling about Hegseth's use of potentially unsecure channels to communicate. The Wall Street Journal has brand new reporting on how the secretary used multiple signal chats for official Pentagon business. According to people familiar with his management practices, Hegseth engaged in at least a dozen separate chats. The reporting continues, quote, in one case, he told aides on the encrypted app to inform foreign governments about an unfolding military operation, the people said. He also used the non-governmental message service to discuss media appearances, foreign travel, his schedule, and other unclassified but sensitive information, two people said. The former Fox News host set up many of the chats himself, sending texts from an unsecured line in his Pentagon office and from his personal phone, the two said. That is where we start the hour. Some of our favorite reporters and friends. Wall Street Journal national security reporter Alex Ward is here. It is his byline on that new signal reporting we just read from. Also joining us, retired U.S. Army Brigadier General Steve Anderson. Tim Miller has stuck around. Lucky for us as well. Alex, it's an incredible new piece of reporting to a story that really hasn't flamed out or stopped being shocking and startling to anyone in national security or any sort of former military or intelligence or government official. Tell me what the new reporting reveals.
Well, it tells us really the way that this Trump administration is managing itself. And then, of course, in this particular case, the Pentagon. We now know that the Secretary of Defense is using a non-governmental app, an unsecured line. It may be encrypted, but it is not meant for sensitive information. But he's using that app to run his day-to-day operations and inputting sensitive information into it. The Secretary's schedule is something that is not something that we necessarily want adversaries or others to know, how he operates, what he thinks about, conversations on personnel matters, where he might be going, foreign travel, and of course, just the general day-to-day management. That kind of information is highly prized by adversaries who, if they were to have any ability to surveil his personal phone and break into, again, an encrypted app, but one that is on his personal phone, then that is a problem for the U.S. And we should note that the Pentagon has a suite of communications tools and government equipment to protect against that kind of thing. So it's another instance of the lax and cavalier attitude that this administration has towards sensitive communications. And we should also note government record keeping, which there just isn't any sense that Hegseth is doing that.
Let me read from the news story and let me follow up on that point. You report this, quote, a 2023 Pentagon directive restricts the use of some non-government apps, including Signal, for official business, saying such messaging services shouldn't be used for sensitive but unclassified information. Quote, DOD personnel won't use non-DOD accounts or personal email accounts, messaging systems, or other non-public DOD information systems, except approved or authorized government contractor systems to conduct official business. The memo from the Pentagon chief information officer said it couldn't be determined whether Signal has been approved for use by Pentagon officials since the memo was issued. Is there, I mean, what do Hegseth's folks say when it is revealed that he continues to do something that every intelligence person in this country and around the world says puts his private comings and goings at risk of being revealed or shared or compromised?
Well, the Pentagon isn't really engaging much with the media here. I mean, they did not comment for this story. We know that Hegseth and a bunch of others at the Pentagon, don't do really regular briefings for the press, so there's very little transparency in what they're up to. What they have said, though, is that Hegseth has not put any classified information into insecure systems. He has not, used a government computer to use Signal within his own Pentagon office. Though we know a couple of things. We do know that he's using Signal from his Pentagon office, not on a government computer. We know it's from what they call a dirty line. So it's not a government computer. It is officially not a government computer. So when they say he is not using government computer, they are right, but they are trying to obfuscate the point. And they are also just, denying that he's putting classified info. Now, this is separate, I want to be clear, from that Houthi Signal chat stuff, right? This is scheduling foreign travel and, as we reported, instructing aides to coordinate with other countries about an ongoing military operation. So certainly sensitive, certainly things that should not be on a personal phone and used on a service that is not super protected in the way the government wants, and could be in violation of that memo. But we should note that there could have been a change in policy under this Pentagon, but we don't know about it.
General Anderson, it's an interesting distinction, right? The Signal chat that we only know about because a journalist was added by Donald Trump's, I guess, then National Security Advisor, who's since been tapped for a different role. There isn't really any debate, though, around whether or not an operational military plan that hadn't happened yet, something that had been put in motion but hadn't been carried out, would be among the most sensitive kind of information. I mean, what is your sense of why this is such a slow-moving scandal? Why is it because Congress has collapsed and there's no Republican interest in protecting the men and women of the military? Is it because the inspectors general are paralyzed? Why is this still happening?
Well, thank you, Nicole. Well, I think it's happening because there's a cancer growing within the government that the Trump administration has brought. They're trying to take down the judiciary. You spent a lot of time in the last hour talking about that. They're taking down the Department of Education, Health. They're taking down all of our institutions, and the military is just another one of those. And Secretary Hegseth, has set an incredible double standard. There's absolutely no way he should be using Signal chat to communicate any plans associated with an offensive operation. It puts American lives at risk. He should have been fired, and he probably should have charges brought against him. That would certainly be the case if it were you and me. But it's set an incredible precedent, an incredible double standard, and it's just another indicator of his arrogance and incompetence. And it has put our national security at risk. Not only does every member of the Department of Defense know this and be impacted by the morale implications of a double standard that's been set, where the rules apply to him, or they apply to you and me, but they don't apply to him. But our adversaries know that this guy is essentially incompetent, and they're going to take advantage of this. And they're going to, at an appropriate time, it could be, we could be engaged in some kind of a fight in which they're going to take advantage of this man's incompetence and his inability to keep our most precious secrets secure and stay off Signal chat.
What are the chances that rank and file members of the military are now being more careless with how they communicate? I mean, what is sort of the cultural ripple effect when the leader is so indifferent to measures intended to protect and secure information inside the Pentagon?
It breaks down the entire leadership chain of command. That's what it does. When you set a double standard like that, when the rules apply only to the people that he are led or that are being led and not to the leaders, it completely breaks down morale, good order, and discipline unit cohesion, all those kind of things. And there's a lot of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines out there saying, hey, wait a minute, how come if I break these rules and I have to play by these rules, the Secretary of Defense doesn't have to do the same thing? I mean, it's just an absolutely abysmal situation, and it's one that puts our nation at risk.